Okay. Hey guys, we are going to go ahead and get this conversation started. Welcome to, I think we're in part 2 of day 1 of Iowa Ideas. It's a 2-day conference every year in October. This is actually our 9th year. Right now, you're tuned into the economic and community development track, and we really appreciate you making some time to come and hear about how folks are handling this issue when it comes to newcomer services and retention. Before we get too far into it, I am just going to quickly highlight that we do have some sponsors that kind of help us out today. In particular, we have our presenting sponsor, that's ITC Midwest, and it's really the sponsors and then all of you who are attending that help us know, that help us be able to put this on and really share about what's going on across the state. So I'm excited to talk a little bit about, as mentioned, welcome programs, newcomer services. And if there are questions throughout this session, you can always use the little Q&A box at the bottom and we'll try to integrate those throughout. Beyond that, though, I'm going to go ahead and let 2 of our panelists start. I think we'll have a third one popping in a minute, just handling some tech on the back end. But Rick, do you mind kicking us off and just introducing yourself? And then we can have Mackenzie do the same.
Sure. Rick Dickinson. I'm president of Greater Dubuque Development Corporation. Grace, thanks for inviting us to be with you today. Before I go any further, though, I want to let everyone know that they get the B team today. Mandy Dolson from our office is our Director of Newcomer Services. Phenomenal talent, our HR professional on staff, but she also does amazing work with welcoming newcomers. So call our office if you, I would suggest you start with her. And if you can't get her, then okay, you can talk to me. But it's a pleasure to be here today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mackenzie DeRue. I work at Greater Iowa City, Inc., which is the Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development organization here in Johnson County. My role is as the Director of Advocacy. So I do all of our public policy work, talking with our elected officials about how to make our county a place where people and businesses can thrive. And then I also have the privilege of leading our leadership programs, which are really focused on helping people become embedded in the community and finding ways that they can serve that's meaningful to them.
Yeah, and looks like we do have our third panelist. I'll give her just a sec to make sure she can get audio, video, and just introduce myself. So my name's Grace. I work here on our local government team at the Gazette. And as Rick knows, I actually used to work in Dubuque, covering a little bit of everything, honestly. And I will say, I don't think I've told you this, Rick, that Mandy helped me find my first apartment in Dubuque when I moved there.
Did she? Yeah.
True story. I doubt she remembers that, but I do, because I was.
No, we're still a little raw about the fact that they took you too, just so you know.
No. Oh no. And then let me just double check, do a little bit of tech here. Maz, can you hear us okay?
Finally, I just start hearing you. I think I found the problem was my computer was muted, not like, yeah. And do you see me?
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you haven't missed much. We're just doing introductions, name, where you're from, and what you do. So if you want to get us started, just introduce yourself real quick. We can kind of jump in.
Yeah, sure. My name is Mazar Saleh. I'm originally from Sudan, came to Iowa, came to the United States over 25 years ago. And I came to Iowa over almost 15 years ago. And I am the executive and co-founder of the executive director and co-founder of Immigrant Welcome Network of Johnson County. Yeah.
Awesome. And you mentioned it there. I'm pretty sure we're actually all Iowa transplants. Is that right?
No. I'm probably the outlier there. I was my hometown was sort of in Iowa. My hometown was Sebula, Iowa, which is an island on the Mississippi, closer to Illinois than it is to Iowa, but Iowa nonetheless. So yeah, I was raised in Jackson County, which is a county just south here in Dubuque, and my wife and I, and now both of our children. One was with her husband in Greeley, Colorado, and the other was working in downtown Chicago. But today, because of these programs we're going to discuss today, they're within a stone's throw of our house, as our 7 grandchildren. So that's what economic development is to me.
And Mackenzie, I'm hoping I'm not 0 for 2. You did move in, right?
I did, yeah. So I'm originally from Fargo, North Dakota. My husband is from Minnesota, and we both came to Iowa for the University of Iowa for graduate school. So we had a wonderful experience. His career took him out to Boston. We lived there for a few years, but we had young kids. and we're really eager to get back to the Midwest to be closer to our family, but also for a quality of life and access to amenities and to a smaller community. And so when an opportunity for him opened up back here in Iowa City, we jumped at it, and we've been really happy here.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing. I think just to make sure everybody is kind of on the same page and that our attendees know, can you guys talk a little bit about how you work with new residents or people that have recently moved into your area? I think maybe we can go opposite order, Mackenzie, and then we'll finish out Johnson County and then up to Dubuque if that works.
Sure. So in my role, I wouldn't say that the programs that we offer are specifically targeted for new residents, though certainly we do have people who, when they move to the area, join them. But they really are about what we talk about with employers, embedding your employees within the community so that for retention, they have other things that are tying them here besides just a job. They feel that they have people who care about them, that they have activities they enjoy, and places where they make a valuable impact through service. So 2 programs that we have our Community Leadership Program, or CLP, which is really an opportunity for people to understand the opportunities as well as the challenges that face Johnson County across the different sectors in our community and how they're all interrelated. So people will take 1 day a month and they'll do a deep dive into healthcare or into agriculture or education. And by the end of the year, we really feel like they have a deep understanding of what makes our community, that they have some valuable connections, and they're prepared to go serve on a nonprofit board or a local commission with government, or just become leaders within their own company. And then the other program is our board leadership program. And that's specifically designed for individuals with an interest to serve on a nonprofit board, which again is another great way to become embedded in the community, but perhaps don't feel confident in their skills or quite understand what board leadership for a nonprofit looks like. So they again meet monthly. They'll do a deep dive into nonprofit finance, into strategic planning, fundraising, so that by the end of that year, they feel confident, and then we help match them with a nonprofit organization here locally that's looking for new board members.
Awesome. And then Masahiro, tell me a little bit. I know we just talked, but for the group at large.
Of course. At the Immigrant Welcome Network, we meet people at some of the most critical moments in their lives. Our flagships program is the Welcome House. Welcome House, which is provide transitional housing for new arrived families who might otherwise face homelessness within days of arriving. So we also offer wraparound services, also job readiness classes, English classes, transportation, recycling and education, recycle educations, and also individualized case management for every person. We help family enroll their children in the school, apply for social security number and benefit, and also connect them with employer and other resources in the community. We bring always, because we are a new organization, we cannot do this without the help of AmeriCorps members and volunteer, and those people always involved in teaching classes too. And we organize cultures and storytelling event like the Voice of Resilience, so to foster belonging. In short, our work is about meeting urgent needs while also creating pathway for long-term stability and connections.
Well, I guess it's my turn, huh? Well, we began, I think the genesis of our welcoming program began in the late 90s when we started a very intensive business retention and expansion program. We sit down with over 250 businesses a year over a 12-month period, sit down with them, ask very specific confidential questions. If it's an opportunity, we try to jump on it. If it's a problem, we try to fix it. And we also ask employers, what do we need to address in the community? And so even back in the 90s, it was about workforce, and workforce is about population, and about population is about keeping the folks you have and treating the people well that come to for the first time. It really hit a crescendo for us in 2009 when we successfully recruited IBM to to bring a back office customer service operation to our community that within 3 years ramped up from 0 to 1,300. Now, eventually IBM left because their business plan across the nation for that particular niche failed. But we did have 1,300 people that were new to Dubuque at the peak of a recession in 2009. And IBM did nothing for these people. There was no relocation funding. There was no assistance in finding housing. We had people living in cars. We had multiple families living in single apartments. And we really had to address quickly a welcoming program and assistance program to make sure people had a quality of life once they arrived here. And so what spawned from that was tours of the community. We provide a number of tours in any given year. I think we've done over 2,100 since then, where we take people around the community for about an hour and a half. It's customized to what their needs and interests are, introduce them to the community, try to make sure they're comfortable. There's no fee to the employer, to the individual. That's covered by our investors. We established a job board called accessdubukejobs.com that helped not only the people that were welcoming, but also gave them an opportunity for significant other to find employment in the market while they were here, and simply go to a job board that was staffed and posted with over 180 employers participating in that site. And it's a partnership with our local paper, the Telegraph Herald. We provided relocation guides. We've pumped out over 15,000 of those since 2009. In the Distinctly Dubuque class, we had our first night of a 5-year session of our 63rd class last night, and it served over 1,515 people. And that class is just to introduce them to other newcomers, to develop a network of friends in this new community they've come to, share information about the community, the history, the recreational opportunities, the cultural events, little goofy stuff too, introduce them to euchre, which is, I guess, the game of choice in Dubuque, and also turkey and dressing sandwiches, which I think is starch on starch. But we try to have them be a part of the community, because being Iowa nice isn't enough. You really have to meet people where they live.
For attendees not from Dubuque, they might kick Rick out for that turkey and dressing sandwich comment. So if he gets dragged away, we know what happened. And what I'm hearing with all of this, whether it be specifically newcomers or just connecting people with their community more closely, is that importance of really getting to know where you live, whether that be a place that you've lived for a while and maybe haven't engaged with super deeply, or you're brand new and you've never been there before. And I'm sure with the work that you all do, it feels a little obvious, but sometimes folks don't think about it. I mean, what do you think it is about learning about where you live that makes you want to stick around, or meeting other people in your community that have maybe are on a similar track as you, or maybe just got there as well, that make you feel a little less likely to leave? And I think we can go maybe reverse order. I might have Rick go first, since he just had their first class.
Since I already ruined my reputation in Dubuque. Okay. Well, I think I mentioned Iowa nice. I think that's true. I mean, we wave at people we don't know, we smile, we greet them, we say good morning, but we don't necessarily know them. And as a newcomer coming to a community, I think they're confronted with some challenges, because even though we're welcoming, friendly people, we're very devoted to our families, if we're fortunate to have one, and spend a great deal of time with them. We work very hard and are committed to our job. We, if we're lucky, have a close circle of friends that we've established over the years. And that's all good. But if you're a newcomer, it's difficult to break into that. It's difficult to become part of that circle of friends. And we are so busy, it's sort of not top of mind for us to reach out to new people that come in. So that's why we felt that we needed to take extra effort to introduce people to other newcomers and develop a network of friends, and eventually broaden it out. So that's why I think it's so important for us. And again, from an economic development perspective, success and growth requires workforce. Workforce requires a growing population. And especially in Iowa, given the age, I mean, my demographic, baby boomers, are retiring in groves. And when I was born many, many years ago, there were 4 children per household. Today, there's 1.6. And so there's a real competitive game to not only recruit talent, but to keep it once you have it. And communities absolutely must take new measures to do the best you can to make that a reality.
Yeah, and I think Masahiro, if you want to take us with that, I mean, you talk a lot about the different connection points to services, but also the social side. I know we talked about in a pre-meeting for this, the side of just connecting folks with other people so that it's not just a move and then kind of radio silence. And if you're open to it, I mean, let's talk a little bit about that. Where do you see that overlap in your work? And real quick, there we go.
No, I couldn't even hear the questions really because, I don't know, the internet was frozen. Can you just say the question again, please?
Yeah, for sure. So we were just talking a little bit about the importance of these services, these programs, and connecting people, whether that be right after they move or just in general, if they're looking to get more connected, how that makes them feel a little bit more likely to stick around. I mean, what do you hear from people in terms of what it means to get these services and these connections to services in terms of if they decide to stay where you are in Johnson County?
Yes, I hear a lot of people, they say that we're lucky to be here in Johnson County because, we have some people who can hold our hand in the beginning to connect with all this amazing service in the community that not necessarily they knew about it. And they believe that even for the Immigrant Welcome Network, we become so famous, I mean, especially among the Sudanese community, because people will sign up while they are overseas. They did not come yet to the US, and they would choose Iowa because when they go to, give me direction. There is a group in Facebook called Give Me Direction in America and Canada. So those people, they join that, and our name is always there. And a lot of people, when I ask them, how did you hear about it? They say, hey, from the group in the Facebook. And people, they decide to come to Iowa because they find out there is somebody they are going to make, they're going to show them the way. And I always say that, yes, as mentioned earlier, that Iowa and I think really people like to show the way. Even myself, when I came new to this town from Virginia, I stayed 12 years in the US before I moved to Iowa. So when I come here, I was just going around, try to make things work, and I want to pay the deposit for the water or pay the water, I think. And I was looking for the city of Iowa City. So I asked somebody on the street, I said, hey, excuse me. And I was driving and we stopped in the stop sign. I said, hey, do you know where is Iowa, the city of Iowa City? He said, do you know Washington? Do you know Burlington Street? I said, no. He said, do you know Washington Street? I said, no. And he just said, follow me, and he showed me the way. So just like that story always exists with me, that the people here really show a stranger or the newcomer the way. So and I want to become that person also when I start doing this. When we found the Immigrant Welcome Network, because it is very important to give hand for the newcomer. People, when they come here, they don't know anything. When I talk to you, we have amazing resources, but not necessarily newcomer know about it. There is many barriers, like language barriers, like English specifically, and also technologies barriers. Some people, they don't know how to navigate things on the online and something like that. So when we get them, we start connect them with resources. We start connect them. We don't give those services in our organization. We just work with other organizations organization who provide the services, and we work there as a middleman in between. And the people love this, and everybody say, just think about it. If I went somewhere else and I did not find your organization, what I'm gonna be? I will be got lost. I'm glad that I came to Iowa because of that. We have a lot of testimony where people say, I really benefit from this organization because I will never know that how I'm going to pay my first month's rent. Is there is a deposit that community crisis center pay the deposit? I don't know that. And not only that, we have a navigators for all, like housing navigator, employment navigators, and we have like social service navigator. And those, all of them are AmeriCorps members who take people from there, like to go and to those social service and translate for them. Which is like providing translation. We know the culture. We have people speak that language. People look like you, and this all this make things really easy for the people, and they want to stay. They want to stay, and people even they want to stay in Iowa City. I know that we have Coralville, we have Johnson County, and we are Johnson County, but a lot of people, they just like that everything in Iowa City, everything is close, and they wanna stay here in Iowa City. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mackenzie, you brought up earlier, you have an interesting one where you might have a few newcomers, but you might also just have people looking to learn more. I mean, how do you see that kind of side of things we've talked about newcomers, but some folks might just benefit from these programs if they're just looking to learn more. How does that overlap with kind of the programs you talked about earlier?
Yeah, so I mean, I think when we talk about new people coming to a community, right, a lot of it is about opportunity and amenities, right? Opportunities for good employment, opportunities for your family to succeed, as well as things that you like to do, whether that's arts and cultures or park and recreation. But I feel that what makes people stay in a community is really some of those connections and this idea that I'm contributing to something here, right? Because you could always look somewhere else and see shiny opportunities exist other places, whether that's a job with a higher salary, or a place that maybe has mountains or an ocean. But really, I think when people have opportunities to feel like they're making a difference and to feel like if I'm gone, people will miss me and good things will stop happening here, then they're more likely to stay. And so I think the programs that we offer from a retention perspective are really giving people the opportunity to find their niche, to find the thing about the community where they feel like, oh, I could make a contribution here. I didn't know that this was a need or that this was an opportunity. And then, we really at the end of both programs stress, like, what are you going to do now? Like, now that you don't have this day a month set aside, like, how are you going to move this forward? And we've had so many alumni from the program who are now leading organizations or have spurred huge community initiatives because they really took that charge and that empowerment that they had something to offer with a cohort of people who also had that feeling. And together they really made some positive impacts in the community.
And I remember when we were doing our kind of pre-meeting for this, you ran me through some of the ways people have stayed involved. And it's everything. I think you said like something like a parks board all the way up to like a city council member. And so it does seem that when you talk about getting involved afterwards, it takes a lot of forms.
Absolutely. One that we're really proud of from our community leadership program is back in the late 1990s. We had a group of people who were looking at other communities that all had community foundations. And we did not have one in Johnson County. And so they did a lot of research. They pulled together, they talked with people to get their first substantial gift. And really it was from there that they founded the Community Foundation of Johnson County, which has done for the past 25 years so much good work in our community because people saw a need and they felt educated to make an impact.
Yeah, and so it's neat to me to just hear about what these look like in different communities. So I want to go just maybe a little bit more in depth on some of the programs you guys have already talked about. And if you were to pick maybe one program that really sticks out to you in terms of the number of people that it helps or the impact that it has, what would that be? Or what kind of sticks out to you when you think about this is the one that people seem to really, really like? And let's see, who hasn't started? I think we'll start with Maz.
Yeah, I for us, like for the Immigrant Welcome Network, I think our Welcome House, it's become very famous, and we just added we closed in two houses because it become the popular program that people really benefit out from it, because when as they said, house come first. When we get the house for them, after that we can help them connect with everything else, find job opportunity, find a rental apartment, register kids to the school and everything. But before everything, they need a roof like on their head before we can do everything. So that's why our Welcome House is really the popular program that we do. And we just added 2 4-bedroom unit. We triple our services this for, starting next month. We're going to have the grand opening. And so we're going to have 3 units, each of them 4-bedroom, and the people come and stay there. And one of the current Welcome House can fit up to 18 people at once. So we used to have 3 family from Congo staying there, like 6 parent, which is 6 parent and 12 children stay together, and all of them benefit from this. So everybody, when they come, after that they come and speak about it. They say, oh my God, because I came through your programs, I find a place to stay. You connect me with everything, and now I have my own home. So we just this year alone, the people who we find them permanent housing is 169 so far. And the year is not over yet. And 169, not all of them graduated from our Welcome House, but some of them were double up somewhere else. But the 58, I think, to 60, they graduated from our one Welcome House. That's why I'm very excited that we added 2 more. Right now we even going to have more opportunity for other people who've been either double up or living in really bad situations and in a place not meant to be for living. So this is a popular program we have, and everybody like it. So that's why we add to.
And Mackenzie, I might tap you next because I think you're there in Iowa City, and you two have worked together a little bit, right? Are you guys okay?
Okay.
And Mackenzie, you mentioned you had 2 programs at the beginning, but let's talk a little bit about the first one when it comes to that once a month. Is that right?
Yeah. So our community leadership program started in 1990 and has over 800 alumni. We select about 25 individuals each year through an application process, and we really try and make sure that the class is balanced in a lot of different ways, so that you have people who are from Iowa City, but also our other municipalities, Coralville, North Liberty, or our more rural areas. We look to make sure we have people who work in private industry, but also local government and our robust nonprofit ecosystem, and really give them opportunities to explore together through the year. And so we'll take an example of what a day might look like. So local government day, it'll be a Friday, and in that day, the class will do things like tour our water treatment facility and hear a presentation from our public works director. They will enjoy a panel with elected officials talking about why they chose to serve and what it means to run for local office. They themselves will do an activity where they're a city council that has to balance a budget and talk through things like what services do we cut or what are ways that we increase revenue. They always choose red light cameras, and they're always reminded, do you want to get reelected? So they get to sort of practice some of that. We often will go to the emergency dispatch center so they get to see where 911 calls and all the public safety that our local governments do. So it's a really great opportunity where people can understand the systems that are operating around them all the time, but also have access to leaders and to places that they might not otherwise have. And so the next time something's on the city council agenda or they're talking about the budget, they really know what kind of goes into that and can feel more prepared to participate in the process if they so choose.
Well, for me, it's not one thing, it's many things. I suppose if I were to pick my favorite program, it would be distinctly Dubuque, and I'll get back to that. But we have a number of partners doing complementary work too. So the program that Mackenzie just talked about, that's really provided by the city of Dubuque. It's called City Life. And they take folks around to do the very same things that Mackenzie talked about, which is tremendously important in educating the willing about how do you become engaged and involved in your community. Our chamber does Leadership Dubuque, and that's really focused on young professionals and to meeting new other young professionals and learning more about the community and the employers in the market. Distinctively Dubuque is really geared, which is out of our office, is geared toward the newcomer. Sometimes it's someone that's never been to Dubuque before. Sometimes it's a boomeranger that was raised here, left, and has returned for a variety of different reasons. And some are retirees, and others are fresh out of college or graduates from high school. And other things that we do complement that. So we focus on workforce in three categories. It's recruitment of talent, the retention of talent, and the creation of talent. And it all is related to, first of all, being a community of choice. Do you have the amenities that, regardless of your demographic, regardless of your age, experience, career path, is it a community of choice? And then communicating with that audience, what things do they expect? And so we have a survey we do on a routine basis called the Next Gen survey. And we ask people what their expectations are of the community, and then after here for a time, how well is the community doing to fill that expectation? But the sweet spot that really addresses the human element of being a newcomer, it really is distinctively Dubuque. It's fun. We take people to lovely restaurants every night of the 5-night period. You can testify to this, Grace. You were in one of our classes when you first came to Dubuque, I think. You learn in a fun way about your community. Folks that have been boomerangers that came back to Dubuque after being gone for 20 years said, I didn't know that about my hometown. And it's fun, and it develops relationships. We have an alumni group of Distinctively Dubuque that, and we've had people marry others from our class. In fact, a young couple that just completed a few classes ago were friends. They became more than friends. They are now engaged. They have purchased a home in one of our historic neighborhoods, and they are both co-chairs of the historic Langworth district now. Bought in hook, line, and sinker, becoming a part of our community, and they work remote in Dubuque, Iowa, and they chose Dubuque, having lived in Seattle. They did a national search, had never been to Dubuque before, and selected Dubuque as a place where they thought they'd check it out. And when they did, they stayed.
I will say, I know it probably feels like a small thing and everything that's indistinctively Dubuque, but one of the things I got my first night was a list of all the local restaurants, and I proceeded to use it until I moved. Feel like, what do I want to try this week that's new? And I would go through and be like, oh, I've never been there. But I consistently used that thing. And it has the rules for euchre, which, as you mentioned, are very important in Dubuque. I don't know if I remember them, but we don't need to tell all of Dubuque.
Always lead with Trump. I guess that's the key to the whole game. But
that's what yes, but
no politics intended.
Yes. And you mentioned there just kind of briefly the idea of like people coming to a community, or even if they've been there a while, how do they know about the programs that you guys do? And Rick, if you want to start, I mean, how do you get the word out about something like Distinctively Dubuque and really get that to the people that might benefit from it?
Now that it's been here for some time, it's word of mouth truly is the biggest promoter that we have. We reach out to all the employers we maintain relationships with, and they promote the site or the program for us. But it really is the joy that people have had and experienced in the program that causes them to speak to other newcomers to the community and their neighbors and encourage them to try it because they liked it. And are we still connected? I lost. Here we go. So word of mouth and employer engagement for newcomers. So when there's a new hire, When people interview, we ask the employers to contact us. We give them a tour of the community, which greatly increases the likelihood of their coming if they're selected by the employer. Once employed, then the employer invites them to participate in Distinctively Dubuque and the other programs that I mentioned with the city and with their chamber. We try to stay in connection with them and pay attention and constantly try to address the suggestions that they have on what the community should look like. Every class is given a survey. We review that survey after every class, ask them to suggest improvements. How can we make it a better experience? And it's been evolving for now 14 years.
You guys met my goal, or at least somebody did, because I wrote down Dubuque needs an Indian restaurant.
Touchdown. Have you been there yet?
I have. It was good. Literally every time somebody asked me, what do you think about Dubuque? I'd be like, I like it. I wish it had an Indian restaurant, though. They have one now. I think they have more than one now, actually. But personal plug. But I saw a few head nods on word of mouth, so it sounds like that resonates for folks. I mean, either of you want to jump in terms of how folks usually connect with your guys' programs?
I would say ours is pretty similar to Rick. We work with the business community, right? So they'll help talk about it with their employees. But then really it's that alumni network. So many times I get an email in my inbox that, hey, I was talking with so-and-so who did the program 2 years ago, and I'm really interested in learning more. So we're grateful that people have had a positive experience and are telling their friends and neighbors.
Yeah. Same here also, like for both like Mackenzie and Rick. Most powerful way is a word of mouth, of course. Like family trust each other. So when one family get a good experience, they just go ahead and tell us the next one. And also we use social media like Facebook and WhatsApp group, especially WhatsApp group in multiple language, because we have like French speaker, we have Spanish speaker, we have Arabic speakers, and each group will have like more than 250 people there. So one message will go to all those, and they share it all the time. We connect, through the community partner. Like also, like sometimes we go and speak at the church, especially like ethnic-based community organization and ethnic churches. We go there and have a speech during Sunday churches. And yes, we make sure that we are visible and present present in any community event, whether it is like by us giving away toys for during toys time. We get it from Toy for Todd, and we just have an event and give it the people toys, and the people know about us. Or like also if we know there is some benefit. For example, giving out a cell phone for the people, newcomer who cannot afford it. There is a program. We call that person to come, and we do that programs. It's not ours, but we open space for that person to come. Even like just through like what's it called, the health insurance, Iowa Wellness Care, and all those. Sometimes they just want to come and talk to the people about this, and people switch to their services. Yes, we be just present, whether yes it is those services, and also a culture celebration. Like we go to like be partner with any kind of ethnic based culture celebration. We will be present too. Yeah, people just find us because we are present where they were. So this is helpful for us.
We're finding more and more social media is a major tool as well. In fact, the class I mentioned last night, one of the individuals had only been in Dubuque for a week, but they had to book the class at least 2 months before that. So they found out about the class on social media, posting we had, or surfing the web, whatever. I mean, somehow they found us doing research in the community and thought that was something they should do. And so it's word of mouth is number one, but who knows how people find the information if you get it out there, and they sounds like a good experience.
It's interesting going back to kind of thinking about social media apps, and Maz, you mentioned different languages, right? And I think we talked about you guys do some sort of social events as well by language, right? As well, to kind of help people connect.
Yes, I forget that. That's we connect, especially after we used to have just one membership meeting per month, and where we have translator. But we find out that it worked better if we had it per language. Especially, we start seeing reduction of the people who are attending the membership meeting once a month, starting from January when like the Trump administration took over. Those people start like not coming together for somehow. People like fear different communities. They don't want to be like trusting each other. They want to trust their own community. So we created a program called Tea Talk, and the tea talk is by language: Sudanese tea talk, Spanish tea talk, and French tea talk, where the people will come bring tea and bring cake, and only Spanish speaker, only French speaker. They just gather for like 2 hours talking about learning from each other, especially newcomer. Like once, for example, somebody will say, yeah, I needed a child care. I'm not eligible for the DHS child care because my child not born here. And somebody will say, I know this woman, she really have her child care very affordable. You can take your son to her, and something like those. They just remember. And also sometimes they ask me to bring somebody, say, hey, the other time I left my kids in the car and the police told me you cannot leave the child in the car. In Sudan, for example, we leave the children everywhere, in the street, in the neighbor, everywhere. How can we learn about this? So we will bring somebody to educate them, like an officer, to talk to them about what you have to have a child a car seat for the children, what age. Also, you cannot leave your children by themselves, and don't do that. All these kind of things. They don't know the law in the country, and also just like just education about what my right when as a tenant, what my responsibility as a tenant. Sometimes they just choose for us to bring somebody to talk about certain things. So we work with some community like Iowa Legal Aid to come and tell them about the rights, and also like the law clinic in University of Iowa to talk about immigration and something like that. But mostly, most of the time, just people talking to each other and learning from each other experience. And also, they one group, they created something called Box. And as they created their own bank, whenever they come to this gathering, everybody who are a member of that box, they have to put $100 when they come. And on that night, all the hundreds go to one person. For example, if the box is 15 people, this time it go to that person, like $1,500 will go to one person. And that person will have a specific thing they want to do, but they don't have money. And next time they give it to another one, and it will go for 15 months. So this way, as if you borrow 1,500 from a bank without interest, and you are paying it monthly for $100. So was amazing when it happened, because one of the people, she said, I want to buy a car and I don't have a lot of money. And somebody said, okay, let us do a box for her so she can get the car. And that's what they did. Just like amazing cooperation together.
Yeah, and I don't know about Distinctively Dubuque or the Community Leadership Program, but City Life, which you mentioned earlier, Rick, I know is offered in both Spanish and now Marshallese. And so
yeah, it is.
When you think about connecting with all aspects of the community, and we think about how these programs can evolve, it seems like those additional languages are definitely a way to up that kind of outreach.
Yeah, and I think it for too long it was not top of mind that we needed to do that, but it is in some ways a challenge. I mean, and there's so many different languages in our public schools alone, for example, but we need to really do everything we can to be inclusive, because we have a very diverse population coming to our community for a variety of reasons, and we need to make sure that they're welcome and they enjoy their stay, and they do stay. That's what this is all about.
And I will plug that if anybody is interested in City Life, the person who runs City Life is actually on the next panel for community and economic development. So great segue for me there, Rick.
Yeah, and you'll enjoy it. They do a great job. Yeah.
Yes, I also did that. I did many things in Dubuque, and that was also one of them. But awesome. And so All of you have had different experiences and different kind of levels reaching people in the community who really want to learn more about it. I'm curious, are there things you hear again and again that people are looking for, or that they say, oh, if you hadn't mentioned this in this program, or if you hadn't mentioned this to me, I never would have known it? I mean, what are those things that you feel like people are looking for? Or what are some things that they might not even know to look for that the community does have to offer in kind of your space? I can see a lot of thinking faces. I'm gonna pick, Mackenzie, you haven't started in a while. I think it might be you.
Sure. I think what we discover over and over again through the community leadership program is that there are so many good things that are out there, either by individuals or organizations, that people just don't know about. So, I'll have an example. In CLP, we often ask small groups of classmates to do a project. And one group was really interested in understanding childcare, and specifically the sort of cobbled together childcare that is the summer, when you have to pick all these different camps, and you start looking in March and you realize all the camps were available in January and they're all booked. And so the project was sort of to figure out what's out there and how could you make a resource that was available to people. And as they were, talking to each other and, working through this, someone's like, well, don't you know about the mom spreadsheet? And I'm like, the mom spreadsheet? And they're just like, there's this woman and we don't know who she is, but she has this Google file that you can get the link to, and she will list every single camp. She will list the cost, the deadline for registering, a description of it, the age groups. And it's just this sort of secret thing that if you know about it, you can get your kids signed up for wildlife camp, or you can make your summer plans and figure out how you can continue your full-time job and have your child be cared for and have a fulfilling summer. And so the work was already done. Somebody of their own accord had done it, but so few people knew about it. And so then the project became, well, just how do we tell more people about some of this work that's already happening, right? And so I really do think, people are hungry for information and connection. And sometimes a lot of the work that we have to do is just amplifying the good that's out there rather than starting from scratch, because there really is a lot that's happening.
I think for us, our people, because they are new in the community, every piece of information will be something good for them. They would like to learn about it. Sometimes they ask questions about how can I get this, or how can I go this, how can I do this? And sometimes they don't know about a certain thing because they don't think this is existing. For example, those resources, you just said something that I never heard about it. Mackenzie. So those kind of things for myself, sometimes while I'm doing things, I will discover something else. And also for us as organization who connect people with resources in the community, sometimes we don't know the resources ourselves, or we forget about that resources. It is there, we forget until somebody mentioned, oh, I really don't know. I don't know what to do on Sunday, because my employer put me in a schedule. Oh, we have Trip Connect. We never told you about Trip Connect. So those kind of things, until somebody highlight the problems, and they've been struggling for a while and nobody mentioned anything to us. And after that, one time say, oh, my struggle is this, because now my employer say every Sunday you take off and something like that, or I'm paying a lot of money for Uber on Sunday. And we know about it. And this is example, and could be in anything else. But my people's always just hungry for more information about the system, about how the system in the U.S. work. They always ask that question. And we try to tell them what's the difference between the county and the city? What that? Why is Coralville is another city? Why is not in the same thing? Those things, they just, in Sudan, one city is huge, very big. They told you that. So those kind of information they always ask about too. They just wonder. Yeah.
I think there's a couple things we hear from newcomers that are very impactful. One is often leads to disappointment, and that is if they were used to a chain, for example, a national chain, where they came from, and oftentimes that's a larger metropolitan area. they would share that, oh, I wish that were here. And there are reasons why it's not here. One of them is demographics. I mean, retail has a very strict template of what their expectations are. So many people with such and such a buying time within 10 minutes drive, buying power within 10 minutes drive time of a location. For example, for about 20 years, the Holy Grail was Red Lobster. If we could only get a Red Lobster in Dubuque. And they even had folklore as to why we didn't have one. Our runway wasn't long enough to bring in fresh lobsters. Well, we waited long enough for them to go bankrupt. So that's not high on the list. But for example, Trader Joe's, our newcomers coming for a larger metro. And of course, you have one down in Iowa City. So we have people that commute to Iowa City and Madison to get to a Trader Joe's. So national retail and hospitality are often discussed. We have a great deal of it here, but not all of it here. And I think the interesting thing about newcomers is they have fresh eyes. They come to a community and they see things that we turn away from. And I think human nature is, if you live in a place, you see the things you like, and that's what you pay attention to. And if something is unsightly, you just turn away. Newcomers are drawn to what's unsightly and then eventually get around to what's attractive. So when you listen to newcomers, you can find out what things need attention. And we collect that information from our newcomers, and we provide that information to people that can make a difference, the city, the county, the different departments, because those fresh eyes tell us what needs to be addressed.
What I'm hearing is my Distinctively Dubuque survey was the sole reason that Dubuque now has an Indian restaurant. So
there you go, touchdown. And then you leave us.
I know. It opened I'm not even gonna lie, I think it opened the week before I started here too. I was like, this is maybe a little cruel, but there's lots of Indian restaurants here too. But and I've heard from all three of you in different ways this idea of partnerships, right? Or even just connecting folks that you work with other, whether that be an organization or an individual that could help them. And I want to give you a chance to kind of plug some of those partners. I mean, who do you work with a lot, or who helps you do this work when it comes to introducing folks to a community or keeping them in the community? Who are the biggies for you guys?
I'll start. For example, our Distinctively Dubuque class, the first person our attendees meet is the mayor of Dubuque. Welcoming them to our community, taking time to introduce himself and to say hi. I can't describe how impressed they are with that, regardless of where they came from. The people that volunteer to tell the story of Dubuque at our different nights, and there's a different topic each night, they're all volunteers, whether they're a public employee or private sector. Some have done it for the full 14 years, 4 times a year, making that pitch. We have tremendous partners at the Chamber with the other programs that they provide. We have partners with higher education in our market. We work very closely with them to try to show the love to the student, not upon the day they walk off the dais as a graduate, but the day they come to campus. We actually send letters out to their families before they attend college as a freshman and thank them for choosing Dubuque and promising to take care of that which they cherish most, their children. There's a video of the mayor, sort of a goofy one. Our mayor's not like me; he's a cool guy, and so it's a giggly welcome to Dubuque, and I hope you get off campus and enjoy yourselves. So it's a team sport. If it's going to be successful, it has to be. It's not about one organization. It's about everybody realizing that this whole notion that we need to stay the same or we used to be better is a failed notion. It means you are contracting and declining. Only moving forward helps, and everybody has to be in the program, or it makes it very challenging to do.
And let's shift focus down to Johnson County, Iowa City. It's funny because I just mentioned you guys actually work together. So when you think about that, I'm sure the other comes to mind. But who else down there do you feel like is really in this?
Yeah, we really cannot. I think we could not do this work alone. This without the help of other like partner, such as first thing I want to highlight the immigrant refugees and immigrant voices in action. It is a statewide organizations based on Des Moines, but they have an office here too. They are the one who provide us. In the beginning, we become like in their incubator programs where they help us build capacity to begin when we was starting fresh, from obtaining our 501c3 to like providing a AmeriCorps member for us to help us like because we don't have a lot of staff. And also like organization like Open Heart Land here, they I remember when the people came new to the town, it was during really very bad winter last year. Like 2 days and 3 days was very bad, and we had they were not wearing winter clothes, so we have to take them there, and they help them with jacket and coats and everything. Also the University of Iowa. Legal clinic. We always when we stuck about like work permit or something like that, authorizations, and their green card's not coming. We also ask them, and they help us. And also, I can't forget the caregivers. Many caregivers will bring us like maybe like during holidays, some gift for the families. They sponsor family during holiday, and they give them some kind of like a holiday gift. And on the housing side, our partner like Housing Fellowship and housing into home where furnished all the people when they move from our welcome house to their own home, they furnish all the home for those people. And Johnson County General Assistant always help us pay for the first month's deposit. The first month's rent, and Community Crisis Center do the deposit. The food bank, that's number one. We connect the people in the first day. We take them to the food bank. That the first thing we sign them up to. And also, I'm not gonna forget our landlord network. We have a lot of now so far I think it's 8 landlord who are helping us provide the housing for people who doesn't have renter history, credit history, and cosigner on all this like requirement that other landlord will not waive it. So some people are waiving it for our newcomer. And our employment network, we have 10 employers right now. They agree to hire immigrants who are new with limited English or no English at all. Those we cannot do those, such as like the Hyatt's hotels, the what called downtown block by block ambassadors, and the bread gardening and the Creation Academy. Yeah, many, like one of them, I guess like 10 of them, but I cannot recall all of them right now. But really, those the force like BNG, staffing agency, all those people, they give the first job up until the school district, the first job opportunity for the newcomer, which is, we cannot do it because if they don't have job, they cannot move to their permanent apartment. Yeah, this partnership really ensure that we can really doing this work, and also like help us not coming up with new thing to duplicate. We can say, okay, let us do a food bank, or let us do like collection of code for the people we give. So this is also will ensure that we are not duplicating offer, but building a strong building a really strong community, and building connecting network. So this is what is really helpful with us. I hope I did not forget somebody, but we cannot do anything without those organizations.
And Mackenzie, there will probably be a little overlap. Anybody else, though, the Iowa City side?
I mean, I would say, we similarly are really powered by volunteers. More than 100 people throughout a year of CLP will be participating in the program. What I would say that I think is perhaps unique to our community or Iowa, perhaps versus a larger metro area, is the accessibility of our local leaders. I mean, our government day is in part organized by the Johnson County Sheriff. On Education Day, everyone gets a chance to just spend an hour with the school superintendent and ask him any question they want to know, right? Healthcare Day, we have our top leadership from the University of Iowa healthcare system, and those are really busy people. who make time because they understand the importance. And, we'll answer an email afterwards from somebody who's interested in learning more. And I think that level of connection with the community and willingness to be accessible to people who care is unique, I think, to Iowa City, or certainly Iowa, and is one of the things that is really attractive to people who are talented and looking for ways to give back, that they can talk to the people who are making an impact and learn more from them directly.
Yeah. Well, this has just been a great conversation, and I'm kind of surprised to say it, but we've filled up our hour already. I've just really loved having a chance to talk about what this looks like kind of in East Central Iowa, but sure some echoes across the state as well. So I really appreciate the three of you for joining me today to talk about this, as well as all of our attendees watching. Just a reminder, all of our sessions are recorded. So if you know somebody that really wanted to learn about this, but wasn't free from 1:55 to 2:55, they can clock it in later, and they should, because this was super fun. I'd hope that in addition to this session, you guys are all able to find something on the rest of our calendar that interests you. This is just day one of our 2-day conference. And actually right after this, the community and economic development track continues with how to foster community engagement. So we've started to touch on that here, and we'll just continue to dig into that. As mentioned, you can learn a little bit more about city life. And I really appreciate the chance to chat with everybody. Thanks again. And thanks to our sponsor. And again, that's ITC Midwest, for helping us all come together to have this conversation. Any final words from anybody?
I would encourage people, if they have any questions, to contact our office at 563-557-9049, or feel free to email me at rickd@greaterdubuque.org, and I'll connect you with the people that know a lot more about it than I do.
Oh, you might be on mute.
Yes, I would say the same thing. If somebody want to reach out to Migrant Welcome Network of Johnson County, you can go to info@iwnjc.org, or call our office at 319-800-1885. And thank you for having us.
Yeah, just thanks so much for the opportunity. If you are in the Johnson County area and interested in the Community Leadership Program, applications usually are posted in May. And I'm also happy to answer any questions. You can just visit the Greater Iowa City website, and my name will be on there. You can send me an email.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Have a good rest of your Thursday.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.